What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tech Talk with Hanley. Today, we are going to talk about Mark Zuckerberg, and he posted his review of Apple Vision Pro on 2 days ago. And the AR/VR internet's been going wild. Everyone's got their opinion on this, and today, here's mine. So, without further abandon, let's go ahead and start and listen to Mark.
All right, guys. So I finally tried Apple's Vision Pro. And, I have to say that before this, I expected that Quest would be the better value for most people since it's really good and it's like 7 times less expensive. But after using it, I don't just think that Quest is the better value. I think that Quest is the better product, period. And, the different companies made different...
So we'll take a pause there. Just to be clear, he said he went into trying it thinking that the Apple Vision Pro would be much better due to the price difference, but that the Quest would be the much better value and more in line with a price point that more consumers could afford. But after trying it, he actually feels the Quest is the better product, period. So let's listen to him explain himself.
Different design decisions for the headsets. They have different strengths. But overall, Quest is better for the vast majority of things that people use mixed reality for.
So he says Quest is better for the things that people use mixed reality for. Immediately, I have a little bit of a reaction here on this one. I don't think we know what people use mixed reality for yet. Mixed reality is a new technology. He has a bunch of users he's getting data from, but that's a very small number. Obviously, Quest 2, I wouldn't call that mixed reality. It had the black and white, very, very, very noisy pass-through, and it was pretty much used just enough for people to see their surroundings while they were drawing their boundary. Quest Pro had the quote unquote full color mixed reality, but I don't know if anyone's experienced it, but that was pretty poor. Quest 3 I have not actually tried, I'll be honest. So but from what I see online and what everyone says, it is an upgrade from Quest Pro, but not that significant. You still see a lot of warping and shifting in the videos online. So that's a pretty low-end version of mixed reality compared to where we want to get to. And then if you look at Quest sales in general, it's not a mass market hit yet. So, I mean, there's the amount of people who have not tried mixed reality to the amount of people that have tried mixed reality is still like 100 to 1 or something like that. Maybe probably even higher, right? 1,000 to 1 or something. So I don't think we know what people will use mixed reality for yet. So that's a little bit presumptuous for him to say that.
Now, my friend Kenny is actually capturing this video on Quest's high-resolution mixed reality pass-through right now. We're just here in my living room, and you can see his browser windows and whatever else he's got running up here. So yeah.
Yeah, so he's just showing off that that's an attempt to be a surprise moment, right? Like, oh, you think we're filming with the Rio camera, but actually that was the Quest 3's cameras. So surprise. So I don't know. I don't have any comment on that, good or bad.
Quest 3 does high quality pass through with.
So, Apple did the same thing here, but he's trying to imply that what you're seeing here on screen is the same pass-through experience you're going to get in the headset. He doesn't say that directly, but that's the implication, right? Yeah, definitely marketing. Everyone should try it for themselves.
Big screens, just like Vision Pro. But we also
Yeah, so big screens just like Vision Pro. I mean, this is the typical way competitors compete with Apple, right? They say, Apple's got these features, we've got them too. And we've got more features. It's usually a checkbox comparison, right? But that's not how Apple competes, right? Apple chooses the fewer number of features, the ones that they think will be really valuable to the customer's lives and try to really perfect those few features. So again, it's the same type of thing. They got that feature, we got that feature too, and more. But that doesn't account for the quality of the feature. Is the feature well implemented? Is it easy to use? Is it stable? I had someone on LinkedIn just earlier today send me a link saying, oh, because I made a post about liking the Mac Virtual Screen feature that I really liked that on Apple Vision Pro, and this person said, "Oh, you can use this app and do it on Quest too." And when I tried to install it, the app crashed during install once. It asked for all these permissions on my Mac that, I mean, like system level permissions, right? Like that I'm very hesitant to grant to a small developer that I don't know. And then, of course, there was no app on Apple Vision Pro, even the website says you can use it with Apple Vision Pro. So I couldn't use it for Apple Vision Pro today. But again, that's a lot of friction to use the feature, right? Whereas with Apple Vision Pro, it all works out of the box. You just sign in with the same Apple ID and you go to Control Panel and you can start your Mac Virtual Screen, Mac Virtual Display session. So that's the type of thing that you have to account for when you assess of products, right? You can't just say they have this feature, we have this feature, so yeah, we're just as good. That's just not realistic, and that's not how you be successful as a company and as a product developer. Let's see what else he has to say.
Designed it to be great for a lot of other things: moving around, playing games, hanging out with friends and socializing, working out, and more.
So I found this line really interesting. He was talking about how the design decision is different. He talked about this right when Vision Pro was announced as well, that that Meta, they've designed Quest to be used for social, right? For people to hang out together in Quest, and for fitness, people exercising in Quest. And then for games, of course, as well. That's probably the primary use for Quest right now. But if you look at the marketing for the announcement to Quest 2, it showed like a DJ at a party DJing in Quest 2. It showed kind of like people out and about exercising and stuff. But like, I don't know, let me ask you, do you know anyone, or do you guys hang out with your friends in Quest? I never have. I don't know anyone that seriously has, beyond like the initial trial period. Fitness. I tried VR for fitness for a little bit, right? But couldn't survive past the honeymoon phase. Just lost interest, right? It was better to just exercise without it, right? Peloton success, go out running, go to the gym. And I've definitely have never seen a Quest at a gym. I've had various fitness companies over the years try to recruit me to go work for them. And you always check these companies out, and they try to push VR fitness, VR fitness gyms and everything, but they're all dead, right? They don't have many customers. A concept that people are trying to push, but the customers aren't. It's just not connecting, right? So, yeah.
Quest, I think, is just a lot more comfort.
Let's talk. He's jumping to comfort, but let me finish talking about. He talked about games too, right? Yes, Quest is better than Apple Vision Pro for games right now. It's got a bigger library. It's got controllers and everything. I mean, let's not assess. I'm not going to talk about Vision Pro games yet, right now, just because there's not many games available. It's a little bit early in the game too, right? No pun intended. But let's talk about Quest as a gaming platform, right? This is its best selling point is that it's a great games platform, apparently, right? But if you take a look on the internet and do a little bit of Googling, and you'll see that the attach rates are actually pretty low on the Quest. The average attach rate is only 2 to 3. So that means people get their Quest for gaming, they get a couple games to try, and then they give up. It's abandonware, right? Like, and we've seen, like, if you look at the Quest library, there aren't many like big IP games on there, and a lot of the top games are the same games that have been at the top of the charts for like 5, 6, 7 years now in the VR industry. It's still Job Simulator, right? And Ubisoft is another example. They actually decided to go ahead and invest in Quest, seeing the good supposedly good hardware sales of the Quest. But But recently, in their last earnings, they announced that they're no longer going to invest in VR moving forward anymore. Not exactly sure what that means, but they said they did clearly say they were very disappointed by the sales of Assassin's Creed on Quest. They thought it would sell much more, so they are going to pull back on the VR investment. Keep an eye on the industry. They said they're impressed by what Apple's done, but they're going to wait for the VR industry to grow before they jump back in at this point. So gamers aren't buying a lot of games. Big developers aren't developing for it. That means Quest is currently an indie game platform and one that's marginally successful. If you don't have players buying games and you don't have developers making games, you're kind of in a death loop as a platform, right? This is the Dreamcast world, right? So we know what happened to Sega in the hardware market once they started losing developer support. So I don't know. Do you really want to invest your time, energy, and money in the Quest platform as a gaming platform? What do you think it's going to be by Christmas this year? I don't know. Apple Vision Pro gaming, I'm actually very, very positive. I think it's going to surprise people. People are underestimating Apple Vision Pro and what a fun game platform it's going to be. I'm not going to go into it today because I could talk about that forever. We'll do that for another session. But keep your eye on Apple Vision Pro. I think gaming on it is going to surprise you by the end of this year. Let's see what else ZUCK has to say.
We designed it to weigh 120 grams less, which makes a really big difference on your face. There's no wires that get in the way when you move around. It's a big deal. Our field of view is wider, and I found our screen to be brighter also. I also noticed...
Let's stop there. Comfort, yes, Quest is lighter. One thing I'm finding interesting, though, is that on the forums, all the Quest fans are talking about, yeah, it's so much lighter. Apple Vision Pro is heavy, right? It's about 150 grams heavier. But then I also see the really hot topics are buying the Bobo VR head strap units and sticking a battery on it, right? Like once you add just that strap without that external battery, it's already heavier than the Vision Pro. So granted, they also jump into the heavy and also the weight distribution. And I'll be honest, I'm not. I hope Apple keeps working on things. I actually prefer the PlayStation VR and the Bobo VR style, where the weight of the headset is kind of like a band around your head, and the headset part is actually floating in front of your face. That way you don't have to strap it in as tight. With the Vision Pro right now, I have to pull the strap pretty tightly to feel comfortable. If I loosen it up, it kind of feels like it's starting to tip over a little bit. I just don't like that angle. I like it to be really firmly in place. And after about 1 to 2 hours, depending on the session, my forehead here will feel a little bit sore, and I'll have to loosen up the strap a couple clicks for about 5 minutes. Then I can tighten back up again. But during those 5 minutes, again, I get that feeling that's kind of tipping over. So I'm hoping that Apple keeps working on it and has some other strap design options in the future that I can use without even thinking about for a full 4 hours. That's my metric for what a design should be. Meta Explorer, well, they shouldn't blame VR because a lot of people are a bit burned out on Assassins. I liked it when it first came out, the first few games, but I kind of lost a lot of interest in it lately. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I'm a huge fan of Assassin's Creed. Black Flag was probably the height of fun, right? The last couple games, Valhalla was actually pretty good. I enjoyed Valhalla. What was the one before that? The Egypt one, I believe, right? Yeah, that one was a little bit of a grind. Was not as big of a fan of that one. And Valhalla was a grind too. But just the environment, the ambiance was just fantastic on Valhalla, right? But I'm a big fan of the Vikings TV show too, so that's probably why I enjoyed that one. So yes, it's lighter. Of course, lighter is always better. But again, people want better and heavier straps, even with the Quest. So a little bit disingenuous here, right? And then again, if you look at this sucker, Same here. Yeah, Vikings, right? That's an awesome TV show. Season 2 got I don't know what season whatever. Once Ragnar wasn't the main character, it started to get boring. The other characters can carry it as well, the other actors. But this guy is actually heavier than the Vision Pro, right? This is the Quest Pro. So anyways, comfort wise, yes, I agree. Lighter is always better. So, and also I'm not a big fan of the Vision Pro straps as well. I don't think the headset's too heavy. I just don't like the strap design where it's like squeezing on your face. My forehead gets sore. So, yeah, let's keep going.
It's that, Apple's headset has this motion blur as you move around, which Quest is just a lot crisper. Now, Apple's...
Yeah, I actually agree with him on this one. There is a little bit of a blur if you move your head quickly, or even if you move it slowly, there's a little bit of blur. I don't know if it's motion blur or stabilization or what, but as soon as you're still, it does kind of snap back in place. And if you're using it as like a workstation and working, I don't really notice it. But if I'm standing up, walking around, then I definitely notice it. But again, Apple kind of knows what it built its device for. It doesn't push. It's funny. Everyone's like wearing their Vision Pro and kind of walking around the streets with it. There 9 million view videos on YouTube of people wearing their Vision Pro in the streets. I'm going to the airport tomorrow. I'm going to bring it with me, and I'll try out the airplane mode and as well. Maybe I'll wear it on the airport. I don't know. I'm kind of shy like that. But not sure if I can pull that off. But Apple, if you go to their support website, it specifically discourages you tells you not to wear it in uncontrolled outdoor environments. It's very clear that this device is meant for indoor and outdoor controlled environments. Don't wear it around fast-moving objects. Don't move it around where there's things that are kind of unpredictable going on. So again, this is not a wear everywhere, walk around everywhere device, but that's what the market wants, and that's how they're assessing this device. But it's not what it is. This is more of a workstation type device, right? Where it's built for you to sit and work with, and kind of like be able to move around your environment comfortably without going in and out of headset. So in those cases, the motion blur is not as big of an impact. And Zuckerberg, the Quest, they're definitely trying to push the gaming and the fitness aspect. So in those cases, yeah, you're gonna want less a crisper image with fast motion. So again, I have not used Quest 3, so I don't want to. I have no way of assessing if it's better or not. Quest 2, Quest Pro, I have both here. Is it crisper, less motion blur? I can't remember. But I will say, I agree with Mark, there is some motion blur or stabilization blur or whatever. There is some blurring with the Vision Pro when you move quickly.
Screen does have a higher resolution, and that's really nice. But
yeah, it's more than nice. It's amazing, right? It's amazing. People love the screens on the Vision Pro. So of course, he's just going to say good. We'll take that acknowledgement, right?
I was surprised by how many trade-offs they had to make to the quality of the device and the comfort and ergonomics and other aspects of the display and artifacts in order to get to that.
So I'm not quite sure what he meant by the quality and the comfort and all of the display. The displays make it more comfortable because it's such a great resolution. I know for sure in Quest 2 and Quest Pro, I believe Quest 3 is a little bit higher resolution, but even on Quest 2 and Quest Pro, right? Like I always catch myself staring at the pixels on the screen and just kind of like, not even because I'm like a developer and I like checking it out, but just, you can't help it. Sometimes you just stare at the pixels, you're just checking out the screen door, and I have not had a single moment like that ever in over 2 years of using Vision Pro where I was like checking out the pixels and checking out the screen door. You just forget about that. It's good enough that you just don't think about that. So he's definitely like, he gave it props. It says it's good, but I don't know what he's talking about with the comfort and fit. And then he was talking about artifacting. I think he's trying to imply that a grainier image. Yeah, I don't know. I don't buy that. It's definitely low light performance on the Vision Pro is not great for the pass through. I haven't tried the Quest 3, so I don't know if it's better on that or not.
Now for input, Quest supports precision controllers that are great for games. Both headsets support hand tracking, but I found ours to be a little more accurate.
Yeah, we'll stop there. I'm not a big fan of controllers. I find them heavy and annoying to carry. And my biggest pet peeve is on all these VR systems where they use the laser pointer control to select things, where you're holding a control and you're moving a laser pointer to try to point at little buttons and grab sliders. My hands are a little bit shaky, so I have a really hard time using those. Second complaint with the Quest controllers is that my hands aren't the biggest hands, and I think I'm out of the human range that they built them for. So my thumbs, I kind of have to like wrap around to push some of the buttons, and which means I have to like let go of the triggers a little bit. It's just a little bit uncomfortable for me. So and then if you talk about the Vision Pro, the gaze and pinch is so natural. People pick it up within minutes, and it locks in your brain. You just instantly locked in your brain that's how you interact with these 3D interfaces, right? Like when I go back to my Quest 2 and Quest Pro, I catch myself trying to gaze and pinch because the Vision Pro has been so successful as locking that into my brain because it's such a good and simple and effective interface. So that's a good sign that Apple kind of did something really cool there. Hand tracking not being as good on the Vision Pro versus Quest. Again, I haven't used Quest 3, so I don't want to judge that. But I will say the Vision Pro hand tracking is good for computing. It's totally fine. For gaming, it's underwhelming. I have some videos you can watch. I posted. I did some live streams of Fruit Ninja as well as What the Golf and Synth Riders, and you can see that there's like lag with the hand tracking with the whatever object. In Synth Riders, they put these big balls around your hand. That's where it's clearest. If you just kind of shake it like this, you can see the balls kind of lagging behind and tracking behind. I suspect that's a power conservation decision that Apple made to not hand track as frequently. And I'm hoping that that's the case, and that Apple adds some kind of like game mode where they pump more power to the hand tracking, and games that need it can get a higher quality hand tracking. So yes, I will agree with him that the hand tracking on the Apple Vision Pro could be better, especially for gaming.
Apple's eye tracking is really nice. We actually had those sensors back in Quest Pro. We took them out for Quest 3, and we're going to bring them back in the future. It's a nice...
Yeah, okay, yeah, nod to Apple. Bring it back, and again, that's going to start eating into his price point.
Nice interface. It's not perfect for everything, though. For typing or complex tasks, you're going to want things like hands or a keyboard or controllers or eventually a neural interface for those.
Yeah, absolutely. Vision Pro, the gaze and pinch, it's good for some stuff, but if you're going to do long productivity sessions, you absolutely will want to pick up, trackpad and keyboard. Magic Trackpad, Magic Keyboard. Apple says that in their marketing as well. The nice thing is if you're buying a Vision Pro, you're probably pretty hardcore into the Apple ecosystems, and you already have a nice Magic Trackpad, Magic Keyboard to use. Continuity. I love using Vision Pro with Mac. Again, I mentioned that earlier. The Mac Virtual Display, fantastic feature. When you connect Mac Virtual Display, your Magic Trackpad and Magic Keyboard, if it's paired to your Mac, will instantly work with your virtual display as well as with your other Vision Pro windows and apps. As you focus on different apps, the keyboard and trackpad will then be enabled for those applications. The other way around works as well too. If you have your keyboard and a trackpad paired to your Vision Pro and you start a Mac virtual display session, then whichever window you're focused on, the Mac Virtual Display or the other apps, your keyboard and trackpad will work for it. What doesn't currently work is it's not like iPad where if you just put it next to your Mac and you're logged into the same Apple ID, the continuity, your trackpad mouse can push from one screen to the other. That doesn't work right now. Vision Pro, you can't just be using your Mac, be in Vision Pro, not be using Virtual Display, but then like use your keyboard and trackpad with both devices. Hopefully they get that working, and that's just something that didn't make the launch list and will be implemented sometime this year. So Yeah, I agree with Mark. You need a keyboard, and to get full productivity, you need a keyboard and mouse. Controllers are not going to make you productive. I don't know if he was trying to imply that they're better hand tracking supposedly, and their controllers will allow you to be more productive. No. What the controllers will allow you to do is if you're doing 3D modeling or tilt brush, Google tilt brush type applications, that precision movement will definitely be a better tool. Apple, what should I say? Apple, I'm guessing they'll come out with a controller sooner or later, right? Preferably sooner. I think it makes sense that they didn't release a controller as well as gaze and pinch because gaze and pinch is the more natural interface, and you don't want to have two input systems at launch. That just confuses the consumer and mixes the message, and you really want everyone to be trying and getting accustomed to this gaze and pinch, and everyone to be talking about that before you introduce the second input format, which would be some precision controller, right? Will Apple ever like open up to third-party accessories? I don't know. I doubt it. There's no like standard right now. It's not like Xbox and PlayStation, where it's like hundreds of millions of those controllers around the world. So it makes sense to connect. Let's keep going.
Those kind of inputs. Quest's immersive content library is a lot deeper. We've been working with studios building virtual and mixed reality games and other content for a long time now. And if you want to watch YouTube or play Xbox.
So just the immersive content, he's saying that they have a better library. Of course, they've been around for 10 years, right? But again, that's kind of checkbox comparison, right? In terms of quality already, I would say the entertainment, the 3D movies, the 8K immersive videos, Alicia Keys, the Highline, the walking over the air. that was just an insane video. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. All the 3D movies that Disney made available through Disney Plus now. I mean, in terms of movie content, Apple already destroys Quest. Quest might have more volume, but I would say doesn't have anything even close to the top quality that Apple is projecting. So completely destroys it there. If you talk about games, definitely Apple Vision Pro doesn't have a lot of games right now. But if you take a look at the Encounter Dinosaurs experience, that's a real-time 3D experience. And there's nothing on Quest that equals the immersion and how excited people feel about that. So that's just a short demo, yes, but it definitely shows the potential of where, as game developers start to create more 3D experiences, high definition 3D experiences on Vision Pro, it's just gonna, I don't know, dude, you project out by the end of the year, where do you think Vision Pro is gonna be in terms of games and where Quest is gonna be? So yes, he's right, but when you're picking which platform to buy into, right? You want to be projecting forward. Where is this platform going to go, and which one do you want to invest your time and money into?
On a big screen anywhere you go, that's only available on Quest for now.
Yeah, I mean this one's just a straight like disingenuous / misinformation, right? Like saying that YouTube is only available on a big screen on Quest is not true. You can watch YouTube on Safari on Vision Pro already and make it full screen and make a big screen. You can do that already, and watching from a YouTube app isn't some special experience. I do most of my YouTube watching on Mac, and I watch that through Safari, so it's the same thing. So again, that was a little bit disingenuous on his part. And YouTube's already announced that a native app is on the roadmap. So people are gonna and then you also have iPhones creating spatial videos. People are gonna start uploading those to YouTube. I'm sure they'll make the web version and the native version support that content. Again, you see that Apple ecosystem kicking into gear.
So, when I look around, it seems like there are a lot of people who just assumed that Vision Pro would be higher quality because it's Apple and it costs $3,000 more. But, honestly, I'm pretty surprised that Quest is so much better for the vast majority of things that people use these headsets for with that price differential.
Yeah, it's interesting. He couldn't say it. He wanted to say it's better for things that people do in MR. And his whole point when he kicked this off was that it's better, period. But he couldn't say it there. He had to like check himself and say for the price differential. So you can see there's a little bit of marketing here going on. But this goes back to the original point. I don't know. I think he's just myopic. I think he's really caught up in the customer base that he's created, and he's very proud of that customer base. Whatever the number is, 20 million, 50 million, let's say even 50 million. I mean, that's again, that's not considered a mainstream customer hit, right? And he's been at Oculus and Meta have been at this for 10 years now, trying to build the VR user base. And I would love to see some great numbers on how many people actually use those headsets. I know myself and most people, we buy these things and they end up as doorstops after only a few weeks usually. I've used Vision Pro more in 2 weeks than Quest 2 and Quest Pro. The entire history that I had those two devices added up. So, and again, it's the ease, the magicalness, and then the integration with Mac. For me, the integration with Mac is the killer feature right now, that Mac virtual display. That's the one thing that I come back to, that and watching YouTube. Those are the two things that I find myself coming back to Vision Pro for every day or every other day. Hopefully, I'm still in honeymoon phase, right? I've only had this for 2 weeks. We'll see what happens after another month. And I am definitely biased. I worked on this thing for 2.5 years, so there's no way for me not to be biased. So, I mean, but I still might get bored of it, right? HomePod, I bought one, I barely ever used it, right? So despite being at Apple when the HomePod Mini came out, I bought it and I never used it. So I can admit when I don't use something, even if I'm biased that I want it to succeed.
Now, look, I know that some fanboys get upset whenever anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised here calling people fanboys. I mean, that's these are your potential. They probably are your customers, right? Just because they like Apple or like Vision Pro better than they like Quest, you're gonna call them fanboys, which is it's absolutely is a derogatory term, right? And they're probably Facebook and Instagram users, right? Never a good look to be making fun of your customers or make fun of people that you're courting.
Dares to question if Apple's going to be the leader in a new category, but the reality is that every generation of computing has an open and a closed market.
Yeah, okay, it goes in there. So let me finish that last topic again. The Quest market is it's a success for VR, but that's not a mainstream successful market yet or ever. I mean, how many more years are you gonna give them to try to build that, right? It's been 10 years already. So Apple was not going after that market. They didn't make games. They didn't make this cheap. They're trying to build another computing platform. Apple Vision Pro is Apple's next computer. Remember that. I think that's the best way I can explain to my friends. It's the next computer. The main functionality is that it's like a 3D monitor. It allows you to work in 3D space with complex applications and many applications, as well as work with 3D data. If you look at the USDZ, the USD 3D models on Vision Pro, it's an amazing experience. If you do CAD, 3D modeling, any of that type of work, it's going to be an amazing experience. It's going to be an amazing tool if you're doing showrooms for like cars, interior design or whatnot. It's going to be an amazing tool for people to share creations and content with their clients, right? 3D movies. We know customers love 3D stereoscopic movies. Apple's just killed it on this platform. It's better than watching it in the theaters in many ways. The bass and the rumbling chairs can't live up, but the screen experience is better. You don't have like people on their phone next to you, and you're always front and center, right? You're not in some off-center seat. And we know people love 3D movies because you look at Avatar 2. Over half the ticket sales on Avatar 2 was for 3D movies, was for 3D screens, not 2D screens. So we know people just love it. So hopefully Vision Pro will be the first real platform to bring it home. Anyways, yeah, main point is Quest audience is a small audience. To be making judgments off what the market's gonna be and what people do based on that audience, I think is a mistake. Apple is trying to lay a path to do the entire audience, right? The human species, not just that audience. So I think that's a different perspective.
Model. And yeah, in mobile, Apple's closed Model 1. But it's not always that way. If you go back to the PC era, Microsoft's open model was the winner. And in this next generation, Meta is going to be the open model. And I really want to make sure that the open model wins out again.
I'm not quite sure what he's getting at, open closed model. Mac is a wide open model, right? There's nothing on Mac that's closed, right? It's got an app store, but you can go to any website and download apps and install apps off the websites. I can't think of anything on Mac that's considered closed, right? Except the hardware, right? You can say that the PC was an open hardware model. People could build their own PCs, add RAM, remove RAM. Can't do that with Macs. Macs, just especially like the last 5 years, right? It's becoming more and more of a appliance, right? But if you're making that comparison, Quest is not an open hardware platform. Quest is an appliance. It's a fixed unit you buy and throw away as well, right? So he's playing on the Apple's the Big Brother, the closed walled gardens thing. But it doesn't necessarily apply in this case. And if we look at software platforms, Quest more open than Apple. I would say so. You could definitely hack away at Quest and do more crazy things. But does the customer really want that? I mean, Android is clearly the more open platform compared to iPhone, and more and more people are switching to iPhone in the U.S. Year by year, not the other way around. So it's not. Customers don't necessarily want what he wants. He's making something for himself, or is he making something for customers? I don't know.
The future is not yet written. So, I want to take a moment to just thank everyone who's been building with us for more than a decade. That goes for both Quest and the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, which are doing way better than I even hoped that they would. As the old saying goes, the best way to predict the future is to invent it. So, I'll see you all out there.
Yes, so that was his mic drop. Nice quote, aspirational. Try to build the future, right? Yeah, I don't have anything to say. Nice. One thing I will say is he's fighting. He's putting up a fight here, right? And I can appreciate that. I respect him for that. Definitely, like as a leader to a competitor to Apple, that's what you should do. You should fight. But just try to help give people my perspective and give you kind of a different take on it. Apple has a big enemy and big competitor in every single category. A lot of these categories, the competitors switch every year. Who's the lead competitor? And very often it's a similar argument as this, right? They have these features, we have these same features and more. So we're better, right? And that's just not how things work, not what consumers care about and how you build great products. You have to identify the key features that are really going to impact the consumers' lives and absolutely kill and destroy those features. It's just kick butt on them, right? And that's it. That's all you have to do. Just make really, really great products that impact people's lives. And that's how you make great products, and that's how you succeed and sell products. Don't spend too much time just trying to compare against competitors, right? The only thing you should be caring about is your customers and whether they use and love your products. So I don't know. I'm gonna get my hands on a Quest 3 ASAP. Once I do, we'll do another session after I get some hands-on time on it. But I am very hesitant to spend any money on a Quest 3 because I've already sunk so much money on Quest 2 and Quest Pro, and it's complete waste, right? So they've lost my trust to spend money on their platform. But I may do it anyways, just because I want to make sure I have a relatively unbiased opinion between Quest 3 and Apple Vision Pro. So that's it for today. Thank you, Meta Explorer, for stopping by, and anyone else that stopped by and listened. And we'll talk again soon.